we are going to begin a new chapter. Okay, plant reproduction. Okay, so you all know plant is a living thing. Yes or no? So that means it reproduces. So today we are going to study about that, plant reproduction. Okay, so you can see the term reproduction. So reproduction is a process of giving rise to a new individual. Okay, so when we give rise or when we give birth, plants they cannot give birth, animals give birth. Okay, so when they give birth to a new individual, that is also known as reproduction, but that is in animal. Okay, so in plant we define it as reproduction in this form. Okay, so it is a process of giving rise to a new individual. Okay, so we have understood what is reproduction. Okay, so plants they reproduce in different ways. You should remember this. One, it is known as sexual reproduction. Okay, one, it is reproduced sexually also, sexual reproduction, and another way of reproduction in plants is known as vegetative reproduction. In sexual reproduction, there is a formation of seed here. Okay, so here what happens? A male gamete is fused with a female gamete. Okay, to form a seed. That process is known as sexual reproduction in plants. Okay, and vegetative reproduction is a process of giving rise to a new individual from its vegetative parts of the plant itself. It may be the leaves, it may be the roots, it may be from the stems. Okay, so that we are going to discuss. Okay, so today we are going to take the sexual reproduction here. Okay, so turn to page number 48. Okay, so you can see the topic fertilization and seed formation. So this is an important step in the process of reproduction in plant. So you can see what are those steps. So it is, first one you should remember this, pollination. Then after pollination comes fertilization, then seed formation. So you all know when you need to grow a plant, what do? You sow seed in the soil. From there only a new plant that arises. Okay, so seed formation. Okay, so in order to understand this, you need to refer this diagram. Okay, so refer your text also and refer this diagram. So in page number 48, you can see, you all know as soon as the pollen grains they land on the stigma. Pollen grains are the male gametes. Yes or no? So when they fall on the stigma, okay, so this is the female part of a flower or a plant. You should know that. Okay, so the pollen grains, they fall on the stigma. This is the stigma, this long is the style, and this is the ovary. And you all know ovary, it bears the ovules, and inside the ovules we have the egg cells or the female reproductive cells. Okay, so the pollen grains that bears the male gametes or the male reproductive cell, when it falls on the stigma, what happens? The stigma is sticky, no? So it has moisture. So what happens is pollen grains, they are dry, small dry. When they land on the stigma, what happens? They absorb all the moisture. Okay, when it absorbs moisture, it tends to swell up. Okay, so when it swells up, it forms a tube which is known as pollen tube, and that pollen tube it passes down the style. Okay, you can see here it is going down and it reaches the ovary. No, and inside the ovary, sorry, not ovary, it reaches the ovule. Okay, then you can see this pollen tube, it carries the male reproductive cell or the male gametes. Okay, so this tube, it takes those gametes. Okay, and what happens? Inside the ovule, what is present there? The female gamete or the female reproductive cell, which is known as egg, is present there. So it goes down, the male gamete gets fused with this egg cell. Okay, so what happens? When this the male gamete fuses with the female gamete, that is the egg cell. No? That time what happens? Fertilization takes place. So, in other words, you can define fertilization as a process or a fusion of male gamete with the female gamete is known as fertilization. Okay, so now when this fertilization takes place, okay, what is formed there? When the male and the female gamete, they fuse together, they become one, so they fuse. Okay, so what is formed there? The formation, okay, of the cell, it is known as zygote. So zygote is formed, okay, during fertilization. Okay, then after fertilization, what happens? This zygote, it changes or it develops into an embryo. Understanding? So then this embryo, it further develops into a baby plant or a seedling, we call it. No? Then what happens? That seedling, that baby plant, we sow it in the soil, it starts growing into a new plant. Okay, so during this process of fertilization, after fertilization, you all know, during the process of fertilization, what is a zygote? Okay, then after zygote, it changes into embryo. Okay, an embryo from a develops into a new plant. So during this period also, what will happen to the female part here? What do you think? Now see, this ovary, no, it changes into fruit. Okay, and the ovules inside, it changes into seed. And you all know that that seed only, it gives rise to a new individual. Okay, so this is how reproduction takes place in plant. So formation of seed, no, in plant is known as sexual reproduction. So you came to know the method, how is seed formed? No, seed is formed due to the process of fertilization. Understanding? Now, next class we are going to discuss about the structure of the seed. Hope you have understood. This is just a small introduction. You go through this. Then your work is to turn to page number 49 and you need to go through this. Read it. The structure of the seed. Okay, and germination. Okay, if the seed is germinated, then only it gives rise to a new plant. No? It has to germinate. Okay, so those two topics we are going to discuss in the next class. Explanation will be done in the next class, but your work is to go through it, read it. Okay, and today's class, I think so you have heard about new terms, reproduction. So study, you need to study the definition and the term, the spelling of it. Then you came to know sexual reproduction. What is sexual reproduction? Formation of seed, okay, by the fusion of male and the female gamete is known as sexual reproduction. Okay, then vegetative reproduction. This here what happens is a process or a method, okay, that occurs in plants that give rise to new individual from its vegetative part. Vegetative parts are the leaves, stems and the roots. Okay, then fertilization here. The term fertilization, you need to study the spelling, pronunciation, and what is the definition? What is fertilization? It's the fusion of the male and the female gamete to form a zygote. It's known as fertilization. Okay, then we came across the word, then embryo, then baby plant. No? So this diagram is also important. You need to see this diagram. Draw this in your copy. Okay? So hope you have understood. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can clarify. Okay? Thank you so much.